So Ever Crisis, Final Fantasy VII's mobile game, gotcha, just released some major new news and lore for Sephiroth and potential new stuff for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 in a gotcha game. Yay! Now, okay, for all seriousness, I love Ever Crisis. I do play it offhanded from all the other gotcha games I play, and it's a great game. I love being able to switch different outfits and weapons with my favorite characters and level up and just play the game in general. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so let me back up and explain what Ever Crisis is to people who never played the game. Ever Crisis is essentially a mobile game gotcha game for Final Fantasy VII OG, Crisis Core, and First Soldier. And the OG Final Fantasy VII is the remake of the PS1 classic that people wanted that wasn't remake that we got, if that makes any kind of sense. And of course, everything else from Crisis Core is pretty much the same in First Soldier, which is the one that we're going to be focused on mostly, that contains stuff about Sephiroth. And of course, other characters like Glenn, Matt, and Lucina. Now, for the people who have played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, have you gotten to this particular part? That is a kind of a spoiler for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth if you haven't watched it, just to put out there real quick. You got to this part in Junon and saw this person walk in, and you were like, who the heck is that guy? Well, this is Glenn Limbard. He is one of the first mini soldiers part of the potential soldier program. He's not really a soldier. He's not the first soldier. Sephiroth really is the first soldier, but he is some of the first elite soldier that was tasked to go to a particular island to rid of his people so Shinra could come in and get the Mako. That's essentially what Shinra did. I mean, it's not anything new to Final Fantasy VII players. Shinra's a bad company, they're greedy, they wanted Mako, this island had it, and yada yada, they went and sent people to go find it. This island is feeding with Mako. It's not like the Cetra or the Ancients back in the day, but it's almost like flooding with different types of Mako and rich Mako that Shinra wants. And so it sends a small elite task force to go out there and kind of eliminate all the people, or kind of like scope it out and see what it's all about. And they meet different inhabitants of the new island, named one particular person named Rosen, who they befriend right away. And as Shinra is making a move on the island, it became a little bit more complicated for the Shinra troopers, so then they sent out their big bad, young Sephiroth, which he's a badass, and he comes in very quickly to eliminate everything, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I would say it's pretty cool. Young Sephiroth is very much used as a machine. He never really interacted with people a lot at this stage. He just was mostly meant to be a weapon. But Glenn, being the self-righteous, badass hero that he is, he kind of starts treating Sephiroth as an actual person and not a weapon. And Sephiroth starts to actually treat Matt, Lucina, and Glenn as friends, and they start to go through the island trying to find a way to save it from Shinra, because Shinra, as they learn, is bad and they're greedy and they don't deserve to have everything on this island. But it doesn't really go that way. As things go through the story and gets a little mucky, and I didn't really get to this part of the story, but most of the stuff that we're going to be looking at and looking at the cutscenes for is
thanks to Foz for recording all this footage so we can review and have a discussion about. So definitely go check out his video and channel with the link in the description down below.
And essentially what shows is that Sephiroth came to a crossroad with young Rosen, where Rosen was telling him to kill him because as he's being the last person of his race that's on this island, he has to make a choice. And I think this is the first step into Sephiroth's decline and spiral into the person that he is today. And as Sephiroth learns feelings and emotions and friends, Sephiroth doesn't want to kill Rosen. He doesn't want to kill him. He wants to save everyone. However, to save his friends, which is Glenn, Matt, and Lucina, who is being contained by this particular monster, this Mako monster, he has to kill Rosen. It's essentially the same choice that Miguel gave to Miles about this spider universe.
You have a choice between saving one person and saving an entire world, every world.
I can do both!
Either you have to kill me to save your friends, or you let your friends die. And unfortunately, because Sephiroth loves his friends and likes his friends, I don't know if he likes them or loves them right now because I just met them not too long ago, but he does care deeply about them, and he has to make the choice to kill Rosen. Now, of course, Glenn, being away from everything, didn't see the conversation that Sephiroth and Rosen had, so this makes Glenn and them go AWOL. Years later, Sephiroth is now a little bit older. He's the hero of the people. He is the well-known Sephiroth that we know. He's in the forest looking for Genesis. So this is getting kind of into the territory of Crisis Core, but he can't get a hold of him. Then all of a sudden he gets attacked by a hooded man, and of course it's Glenn with his dog that Rosen used to have, which I forgot to mention, but it's not that important. But the important part, Glenn and Sephiroth meet again, and they have a nice conversation about him being the hero and you being the villain and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, they're actually really friends and they're reconciling, and they talk about a lot of stuff. But then a monster comes out and attacks, and of course Glenn, being an ex-Shinra trooper, he can't be seen. Sephiroth helps and saves the day of particular monsters, and now everyone thinks of him as a hero. But this is where the start of Sephiroth's Genova glitches start to truly happen, and it's flashbacks to when he had to kill Rosen, and starts in his decline into the Sephiroth we know today. And it's awesome that we got this huge new lore for Sephiroth to kind of give a little bit more weight and value to Sephiroth of how he became who he is. But it sucks that they only put it in Ever Crisis and not in Rebirth as like a DLC or something that helps tie the game into the next game that leads to one of the biggest moments that people were kind of waiting for, which is to Sephiroth standing staring at the world of creation, where the same place that he fought Cloud and asked him,
"Our world will become a part of it one day, but I will not end. Nor will I have you end."
This is...
the edge of creation. Cloud, lend me your strength. Let us defy destiny together.
Never.
and it makes you really wonder what's going on in Sephiroth's head and what's his plan, what's his end goal. I mean, obviously he's trying to defy destiny, so maybe he just doesn't like the planet at all, He doesn't like this pick and choose, and he wants to get rid of the whole planet to kind of do a Thanos where everything's kind of peace, but you gotta, you know, destroy some lives to save some others type of situation. What was even more interesting is that part 2 for Ever Crisis shows a new trailer of more stuff that's going to be happening in the game, from a young Angel to maybe potentially a young Snaps, and then of course Sephiroth looking at Hojo almost the way that Cloud looks at Sephiroth. And it's very interesting in the dynamic that Sephiroth and Cloud has when they look at someone like this pure evil, and it's definitely has to deal with Genova and the Genova glitches that they get. And it's a very interesting dynamic and direction that they're taking the story. And I'm very excited. Again, the only thing I'm sad about is that it is in the gacha game and not in actual Rebirth. I feels like all this important stuff should have been in Rebirth at some point. They could still do this as a nice little DLC package for Rebirth sometime next year or something. Or it could be the start of Remake Part 3, where you start off as young Sephiroth and you have to go through the whole island of Rhodeus and just deal with Glenn and meet Glenn and all this other stuff, and then meet Rosen and make the decision. I would really love that. I think that would be really good as a good way to tie in Ever Crisis and the First Soldier, while also getting more meat for Sephiroth. Now, I don't want Sephiroth to have any redemption, because the stuff that Sephiroth does do is still evil and he's still the ultimate bad guy. But I do want to see this more human side of Sephiroth that we used to have, that kind of just went spiraling into madness, as well as a young Angel. Oh my god, he had such a baby face. I mean, you didn't really get to see his face that much, but you saw the Buster Sword, you saw him as a not first soldier, he was a second class soldier, and it just looked so cool. I can't wait to see Genesis. I am definitely looking forward to part 2 of Ever Crisis, First Soldier, and I love Final Fantasy VII. I love what they're doing with the story. I have very good faith that in Rebirth it's going to be a very big payoff. At least I hope, because not Rebirth, Remake Part 3, I hope it's a big payoff, because it's something that we need as Final Fantasy fans, that led to all this, like that everything of Final Fantasy VII matters, and it's a beautiful thing. And just getting this more deep dive into Sephiroth's life, of how his life was very complicated from the start, it's just very cool to see. But let me know how you guys feel. Do you guys care about it as much as I do, or other Final Fantasy VII enthusiasts? Or do you just care about seeing cool shit from Final Fantasy and all this other stuff? But let me know how you guys feel about that in the comments down below. Are you ever going to play Ever Crisis? Because you can. It is on Steam if you want to play it. It's a fun game if you enjoy some good costumes for your favorite characters like Tifa or Yuffie or Aerith and Cloud and Zack and all the other characters that's in the game. They keep adding new stuff, and it seems like in episode 2 it's going to get even better. So I might have to catch up and get better in the game than I already am right now. So yeah, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you did enjoy this video, hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this. Also, maybe you would like to watch me play my full entire playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth right here. Yeah, go ahead, click it. It's right there. You know, go watch it. It's right there live. The whole playthrough. Right there. All right, deuces. Go watch it.
Seems like the life I feel. Seems like the life I feel is a little distant, yeah. Seems like the life I need. Seems like the life I need is a little distant, yeah. Like the river deep, yeah. Seems like my life.